Have you ever met someone who just doesn't get fazed by anything? No matter what life throws at them, negativity, challenges, criticism, they stand firm, unmoved, completely unbothered and unshaken. And yet, most of us struggle with this. A single comment, a small setback, a moment of doubt, it can ruin our whole day. But what if it didn't? What if we could train ourselves to remain steady in the face of adversity? What if we could walk through life with confidence, clarity, and calm, no longer controlled by the noise around us? Because that kind of strength isn't luck. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, our energy, and our emotions. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with notifications, expectations, opinions, and pressures that try to dictate how we should feel, what we should care about, and how we should react. It's easy to get caught in the cycle, reacting to everything, letting external circumstances determine our mood, and feeling like we're constantly being pulled in 100 different directions. But the most resilient people don't live that way. They understand that control begins from within. They don't allow themselves to be at the mercy of circumstances, people, or fleeting emotions. Instead, they take full responsibility for their inner world, their thoughts, their reactions, their state of mind. Because here's the truth. You cannot control what happens around you, but you can always control how you respond. Most people believe that peace comes from the absence of problems, that confidence comes from constant validation, that happiness comes from external success. But those who have mastered inner control know that none of those things are true. They understand that real peace is an inside job. It's not about what's happening in your life. It's about what's happening in your mind. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same situation. One crumbles under pressure while the other stands firm. One lets fear dictate their actions, while the other remains calm and focused. The difference? One has control over their emotions. The other is controlled by them. Mastering inner control means learning to regulate your emotions instead of being a slave to them. It means recognizing that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. That just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean you have to believe it. That just because someone tries to provoke you doesn't mean you have to react. It's about learning to pause. Most people react immediately to situations without thinking. Someone says something rude, they snap back. Something doesn't go their way, they spiral into frustration. But those who have mastered inner control understand the power of the pause, that brief moment between stimulus and response, between what happens to you and how you choose to react, determines everything. And that's the key. It's always a choice. When someone disrespects you, you can choose whether to let it affect your energy. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you can choose whether to panic or adapt. When emotions rise, fear, anger, frustration, you can choose whether to let them control you or whether to take a step back and regain your composure. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. It doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them, understanding them, and then deciding how you want to respond. And the best part? This is a skill. No one is born with perfect inner control. It's something you train, something you build, something you strengthen over time. The more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. It starts with small moments. Choosing to remain calm in a frustrating situation, resisting the urge to react emotionally to negativity, pausing before making an impulsive decision. Over time, these small moments add up, and suddenly you realize that what used to shake you no longer has the same power. And when that happens, when you reach the point where your peace is no longer dependent on external chaos, that's when you know you've mastered inner control. We live in a world that constantly demands our energy. Everywhere we turn, there's something trying to pull us in. Arguments on social media, unnecessary drama, workplace politics, family conflicts, and the opinions of people who don't even matter in the long run. But here's the truth. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every problem requires your involvement. Not every opinion needs a response. The most resilient people understand this. They don't waste their energy on things that don't serve their purpose. They don't engage in battles that drain them more than they empower them. They know that their time, their mental space, and their emotional well-being are too valuable to be spent on things that don't matter in the grand scheme of life. Most people, however, do the opposite. They react to everything. Someone makes a passive-aggressive comment, they feel the need to respond. A stranger criticizes them online, they argue back. A coworker gossips about them, they dwell on it for days. They spend their energy on proving themselves to people who were never going to understand them in the first place. And at the end of the day, they're left exhausted mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically, because they've poured themselves into fights that didn't deserve their strength. But strength is not about fighting every battle. Strength is about knowing which battles actually matter. Think of it this way. Imagine you wake up with a limited amount of energy each day. You can either spend that energy fighting meaningless battles, or you can invest it in things that actually help you grow, move forward, and become stronger. The choice is yours. So how do you decide which battles are worth fighting? First, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Not everything requires a reaction. Someone cutting you off in traffic, a rude comment on the internet, a minor inconvenience in your day, these things might be frustrating, but are they truly worth your time? Are they worth taking space in your mind? Most of the time, the answer is no. Second, ask yourself, will this matter in a year? A powerful way to filter out unnecessary battles is to think long term. If something won't matter a year from now, or even a month from now, then why waste your energy on it? Most of the things we stress over, argue about, or react to are temporary. They seem big in the moment, but in the grand scheme of life, they are insignificant. The people who master emotional resilience understand this. They focus on what truly lasts, not on what is fleeting. Third, ask yourself, is this battle aligned with my goals and values? Not every fight is about winning or losing. Sometimes it's about whether or not the fight even aligns with the life you want to build. If a conflict, an argument, or a situation is pulling you away from your bigger purpose, then it's not a battle worth engaging in. The strongest people don't fight to prove themselves to others. They fight for what actually matters to them. Fourth, understand that walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. There's a common misconception that to be strong, you have to fight every battle. That if you let something go, you're being passive. That if you don't respond, you're being weak. But the opposite is true. It takes far more strength to walk away from something that doesn't serve you than it does to engage in every pointless argument. The greatest leaders, the most successful people, the ones who achieve real peace in life, they don't waste time on distractions. They don't chase validation. They don't entertain drama. They know their worth, they know their purpose, and they choose their battles accordingly, because the goal is not to fight everything that comes your way. The goal is to fight for what truly matters and let the rest take care of itself. The power of emotional detachment. Most people go through life feeling like they are at the mercy of their emotions. A single comment can ruin their mood. A minor setback can derail their confidence. One rejection, one failure, one moment of doubt, and suddenly they feel lost. But the people who are truly unbothered and unshaken operate differently. They don't allow external circumstances to dictate their internal state. They have mastered a skill that most people overlook, the power of emotional detachment. Now let's be clear, emotional detachment does not mean being cold, indifferent, or uncaring. It doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending that things don't affect you. It means developing the ability to observe your emotions without becoming consumed by them. It means being able to experience situations without letting them control your thoughts, actions, or sense of self. Because here's the truth, not everything deserves a reaction. Not every opinion needs to be taken to heart. Not every challenge is a personal attack. And when we allow ourselves to become emotionally entangled in every little thing, we lose our power. The strongest people don't get pulled into unnecessary drama. They don't take everything personally. They don't allow external negativity to disrupt their inner peace. Instead, they create space between their emotions and their reactions. They understand that just because they feel something doesn't mean they have to act on it. How emotional detachment works. To master emotional detachment, the first thing we must understand is that our emotions are real, but they are not always reliable. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they crash, they change with circumstances. But the key to staying unshaken is learning to observe those emotions rather than be controlled by them. Think about it. How many times have you felt angry about something in the moment, only to look back later and realize it wasn't worth your energy? How many times have you let self-doubt hold you back, only to later realize that it was just a temporary feeling? The ability to step back and recognize that this is just a feeling, not a fact, is one of the most powerful tools you can develop. When someone criticizes you, you have two choices. One, take it personally, let it shake your confidence and spend hours replaying it in your mind. Two, step back, analyze whether their words hold any real value and decide whether it's worth your attention. When something goes wrong in your life, you have two choices. One, let it consume you emotionally, reacting in frustration or panic. Two, accept it as part of the process, learn from it, and move forward with clarity. The strongest people always choose the second option, not because they don't feel emotions, but because they refuse to let those emotions control them. Why emotional detachment is a superpower? One, it keeps you in control. When you detach from emotional reactions, you stop giving your power away. Other people's opinions, failures, setbacks, they no longer dictate your happiness or self-worth. You remain centered no matter what's happening around you. Two, it saves you from unnecessary suffering. Most stress, frustration, and anxiety come from over-attachment. We attach too much to people's approval, to external success, to things going exactly as we planned. But when we detach, we free ourselves from that suffering. We accept that things don't always go our way, and that's okay. Three, it helps you make better decisions. Emotional reactions often lead to impulsive choices, saying something we regret, acting out of anger, making a fear-based decision. But when you are emotionally detached, you can assess situations with clarity and logic, leading to smarter, more strategic choices. Four, it builds unshakable confidence. When your confidence is not dependent on validation, approval, or outcomes, you become unstoppable. You stop seeking external reassurance and start trusting yourself fully. How to practice emotional detachment? Like any skill, emotional detachment takes practice. But there are simple ways to start strengthening it in your daily life. Pause before reacting. Instead of immediately responding to emotions, take a moment to breathe, step back, and evaluate the situation logically. Ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. Detach from external validation. Your worth is not determined by other people's opinions or whether things go perfectly. Observe, don't absorb. When faced with negativity or stress, imagine yourself as an observer, watching the situation from the outside rather than getting pulled into it emotionally. Accept, don't resist. Not everything in life will go your way, and that's okay. The sooner you accept what you can't control, the more peace you will find. When you master emotional detachment, you stop letting the world dictate how you feel. You remain calm in the face of chaos. You move with confidence, unshaken by negativity. You take back control of your life. Building an unshakable foundation. Every strong structure, every enduring legacy, every remarkable individual is built on one thing: a solid foundation. Without a foundation, even the tallest buildings collapse. Without a foundation, even the most talented people crumble under pressure. And without a foundation, no amount of success, intelligence, or ambition can protect us from the storms of life. But here's the part most people get wrong. An unshakable foundation isn't something you find, it's something you build. It's built in the moments no one sees, the decisions you make when no one is watching, the habits you reinforce every single day, the way you show up for yourself even when it's hard. People often assume that those who are resilient, those who remain calm under pressure, those who push through failure, those who keep going despite the odds, are just naturally strong, that they were born with something special. But they weren't. They just made different choices. They built a foundation so solid that no external force, no criticism, No setback, no rejection could shake them. What makes a foundation unshakable? A house built on sand will fall at the first sign of a storm. A life built on external validation, fleeting success, or temporary motivation will do the same. So what makes a foundation truly unshakable? 1. Clarity of purpose. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything. People who are easily shaken often lack clarity. They're unsure of their values, their priorities, their purpose. As a result, they get pulled in every direction, chasing approval, jumping from goal to goal, constantly questioning themselves. But those with an unshakable foundation know exactly who they are and what they stand for. They don't waste time on distractions. They don't feel the need to prove themselves to everyone. They don't allow criticism to derail them because they're deeply connected to their purpose. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates resilience. 2. Emotional regulation. The strongest people aren't the ones who never feel fear, anger, or self-doubt. They are the ones who have trained themselves not to be controlled by those emotions. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Failures will happen. If your emotional state depends on everything going smoothly, you will always feel out of control. But when you build emotional regulation, when you learn to pause before reacting, when you develop the ability to sit with discomfort without panicking, you create stability. You become the person who stays calm in chaos, the person who doesn't let temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions, the person who can keep moving forward no matter what. 3. Discipline over motivation. Most people rely on motivation to take action, and that's why most people struggle with consistency. Motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel inspired, other days you don't. Some days you're excited about your goals, other days you just want to quit. But discipline is what keeps you going even when you don't feel like it. An unshakable foundation is built on small, consistent actions repeated over time, regardless of how you feel in the moment. It's waking up early to work on your goals even when you're tired. It's choosing to exercise even when you're unmotivated. It's showing up for yourself day after day because you've committed to something bigger than a passing emotion. 4. A strong inner circle. No one becomes unshakable alone. Look at the most resilient people and you'll see one common trait. They have a strong support system. Not just people who are fun to be around, but people who push them to grow, people who challenge them, people who remind them of their potential when they start to doubt themselves. Your foundation is only as strong as the people you surround yourself with. If you're constantly around negativity, drama, or people who drain your energy, you'll always feel unstable. But when you build relationships with people who uplift, inspire, and challenge you, you become stronger than you ever could on your own. 5. Unbreakable self-trust. The core of every unshakable foundation is one thing: trust in yourself. Most people second-guess themselves constantly. They wait for others to validate their choices. They hesitate, doubt, and overthink. But the most resilient people don't seek external approval. They trust their own judgment. Self-trust means believing that you can handle whatever comes your way. It means knowing that even if things don't go as planned, even if you fail, even if you face setbacks, you will figure it out. This kind of trust is built through experience. The more you challenge yourself, the more you keep promises to yourself, the more you push past fear, the stronger your self-trust becomes. And the stronger your self-trust, the less anything outside of you can shake you. How to start building your foundation today. Building an unshakable foundation doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with simple, intentional choices. Define your core values. What truly matters to you? What do you stand for? What kind of person do you want to be? Strengthen your emotional resilience. Learn to pause before reacting. Practice sitting with discomfort without letting it control you. Commit to consistency. Choose one small habit that aligns with your long-term goals and stick to it every single day. Audit your circle. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, support you, and help you grow. Build self-trust. Keep promises to yourself. Take small risks. Prove to yourself again and again that you can handle whatever comes your way, because in the end, the world will always be unpredictable. Challenges will always arise. People will always have opinions. But when your foundation is solid, none of it will shake you. Conclusion, life will always throw challenges our way. People will criticize. Plans will fall apart. Unexpected setbacks will test our patience, our confidence, and our resilience. But when we build ourselves from the inside out, when we master inner control, choose our battles wisely, detach from unnecessary emotional weight, and create a foundation rooted in discipline, clarity, and self-trust, nothing can truly shake us. Being unbothered and unshaken doesn't mean avoiding challenges. It doesn't mean never feeling emotions or ignoring the world around us. It means developing the strength to navigate life with unshakable composure. It means recognizing that peace is not found in external circumstances, but cultivated within. It means knowing that no matter what happens, no matter what people say, no matter how unpredictable life becomes, you are in control of yourself. And that's where true power lies. Because when you are no longer controlled by fear, by doubt, by external noise, when you stand firm in who you are, unshaken by opinions, drama, or temporary failures, you don't just survive life's challenges, you rise above them.